Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jillian Bender-Cormier. I'm brand manager with Bender Insurance Solutions. We want to welcome you to another educational BenderU webinar. Financial stress kills workplace productivity. Some housekeeping notes. At the end of this webinar, we will have an engaging Q&A session that I will be facilitating. If you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to type them into the chat box or in the Q&A section. During that time, at the end of the presentation, I'll be sharing your questions with our speakers. We want to be conscious of time, so if we don't get to answer all of your questions, we will gladly reach out to you individually after the webinar. You are all in listen-only mode and will remain muted throughout the webinar. This session is being recorded. At the conclusion of the webinar, the recording link will be forwarded to you. We have a fantastic set of experts sharing with us this morning. Firstly, Bender's own Maggie Bender-Johnson. Maggie is president of Bender Insurance Solutions, an employee-owned insurance and risk management brokerage serving the Western states since 1938. Maggie has been with the firm 15 years and proudly leads a team of 55 employee owners to transform the insurance industry. She's passionate about education, obtaining her MBA from Sac State and the coveted industry credentials of Certified Insurance Counselor and Management Liability Insurance Specialist. Financial education is a special interest of hers, both in elevating her team and in the community as a past volunteer for Money Matters, financial education for women and girls. After Maggie shares with us, we'll be hearing from Tracy Gunter. So without further ado, welcome Maggie.
Terrific. Thank you, Jillian, and hello, everyone. Before we jump to the real talent of the hour, Ms. Tracy Gunter, I'd like to share some information and the perspective of an employer who's facing a very distracted workforce. Change slide, please. According to a report by the Personal Finance Employee Education Foundation, 1 in 4 workers suffer from serious financial distress as a result of their personal finances. Up to 80% of American workers spend time at work worrying about personal financial issues rather than dealing with their work. And in addition to serving as a distraction from work, the Center for Financial Services Innovation found that financial anxieties can also lead to absenteeism, healthcare and workers' comp claims, employee turnover, and more. All of these issues negatively impact an employer's bottom line and enterprise value. These stats alone were compelling enough for us to focus on the issue of our employees' education, primarily around finances, but there is something unique about Bender Insurance Solutions that makes financial education critical for the success of our business. Next slide, please. Thank you. You see, in 2018, Bender Insurance Solutions became 100% employee-owned via an employee stock ownership plan. When we rolled the ESOP out to our staff, we had varying degrees of understanding about what an ESOP was and what it meant to the individuals financially. An important element of a successful ESOP is that a workforce can tie their individual contributions to the success that the team feels together. In order to benefit from the positive momentum of an ESOP, we knew that we needed to ramp up our education for our team so that they could more easily connect those dots. Next slide, please. Tracy Gunter, who has been our 401k provider and financial advisor for the last 5 years, has been pivotal in our education efforts. Tracy's relatability and true care for people's financial well-being has yielded amazing results for our team. Since working with Tracy, our team's contributions have increased on average by 44%. Even some of our highest earners, some who have finance degrees, made adjustments to how they were contributing to our plans after meeting with Tracy and hearing some of her ideas. Change slide, please. I want to share one of those employees' words after our most recent financial education meeting. This employee increased her contribution by 60% while working with Tracy on her plan. I really want to thank Bender and Tracy for today's meeting. Every year, I am reminded of how important it is to save because of this meeting. I always walk away with a different perspective and an awesome reality check. I really appreciate it. While Tracy was going through the Empower website, I got online and signed up. I can't wait to go home and show it to my husband. This really means a lot to me, and I'm super happy and appreciative to Bender for providing such great resources and opportunity to us. This is just one of many voices who have been positively impacted by Tracy, and I'm so happy for her to share some of her talent and passion with all of you today. Without further ado, I'll pass it over to Tracy Gunter, a certified financial planner, an accredited investment fiduciary analyst, and director of retirement plan services at Smart Investor. She has been in the business of helping people with their financial lives since 2002. Take it away, Tracy.
Thank you, Maggie, for the opportunity to this BenderU with you today and share my financial passion for literacy amongst your community and anywhere that I go. Change slide, please. Today's employees are underprepared when it comes to basic finance. This has to change, given all the reasons Maggie just spoke about. Most of us weren't taught financial concepts growing up about budgeting, managing credit, saving for emergencies, or for retirement. We have had to learn as we go, or maybe we haven't. In 2020, with the arrival of COVID and the stay-at-home orders, some of us were able to spend less and save more. Others weren't as fortunate. In the new year, we need to make financial change happen for our teams and ourselves. Last week, I spoke with a 60-year-old woman who wants to retire at age 62 and didn't know how to start planning for it. She's worked hard her whole life to survive. Her 401k balance is $50,000, and her husband doesn't have anything saved for retirement. Social Security and our 401k distributions probably won't be enough to pay the bills, so they will have to continue to work as long as possible. It wasn't the retirement dream she had in mind, but we planted the seeds for a new and different one. Working in retirement isn't bad. It gives us purpose, connections, and it really keeps our brain healthy. Daily, I talk to people without an emergency fund to help pay the bills in case of a job loss, disability, or worse. This was a huge problem in 2020 when people lost their jobs or had their hours cut. I spoke to a woman who lost her sister to COVID. She wanted to do a hardship withdrawal from her 401k to cover the funeral expenses. Based on the hardship rules, she couldn't do it. I don't know how she covered the expense. It broke my heart to tell her. This is why we need to encourage everyone to start saving for the unexpected. 401k loans are on the rise. People are using them to pay off high interest card debt. It makes sense because the 401k loan interest is less. However, I've seen people pay off debt only to charge their credit cards right back up again. We need to help people learn how to stop the revolving debt cycle. Not enough young adults know the secret of compounding and the benefit of investing early in their careers. This needs to change through continuous learning. People need to know more about financial basics to not only survive, but to thrive. You have the power to start creating financial change with your team members. Change slides, please. Things you may not know. 65% of Americans say they lose sleep over money worries. Do you or someone you know struggle with finances? Financial stress robs us of our sleep, is one of the top reasons people divorce, and as Maggie mentioned, it affects work performance, our personal lives, and relationships. 78% of American households live paycheck to paycheck. Living paycheck to paycheck is what the majority of us do, just like many of us struggle with our weight, eating healthy, and exercising. 44% of Americans don't have enough cash saved to cover a $400 emergency. Only 29% of Americans are actually financially healthy. Change slide, please. Wait, there's more. Over 40% of student loan borrowers aren't paying payments. Thank goodness federal student loan payments were suspended and the interest rate dropped to 0 in 2020. The program was extended to 2021, but what happens when the payments start up again? Will everyone be able to make them? Only 32% of US families maintain a household budget. We need to embrace budgeting and make it a life choice. It is the cornerstone to financial living. There are many ways to budget. Common budgeting techniques are zero-based budgeting, the 50-30-20 rule, or the envelope method, to name a few. We need to find the way that works best for us as individuals and run with it. There are great budgeting apps, Excel spreadsheets, or paper budgets to utilize. On average, Americans carry over $6,100 in credit card debt. Debt and bad credit scores can be devastating. There are easy-to-use strategies and apps that can help people get out of debt and raise their credit scores. They just need to know what they are. Not very many of us are financially healthy. Wouldn't it be great to see all these trends start to reverse? Change slide, please. As employers, what can you do about financial stress? Your team needs to know the financial basics to help reduce stress. Your 401k provider and your investment advisor can help. They can provide inspiration and educate your employees. Thanks to the fiduciary rule in 2016, record keeper platforms added basic financial education information and calculators to their websites. Get your 401k advisor or provider involved in the financial conversations with your team. Ask what they can do to help spread the word. Pick a different topic to share with your teams on a quarterly basis. Consider having Zoom meetings. Send out informational emails or group texts. There are so many ways to get the word out and educate your teams. Change slides, please. Use the information that's at your team's fingertips and get them motivated to take action. Take work time to share with your team what is available. The basic education topics available are retirement planning, that's huge. Personal finances, we're talking credit and budgeting. Social Security and Medicare, that's really important when you're planning for retirement. Savings for college. Many of us have kids that are getting ready to go there. Insurance and protection. Change the slide, please. Here's what we do at Smart Investors to help. We have created education workshops on retirement, budgets, and credit. My favorite course is What It Takes to Retire. People spend more time planning their 2-week vacation than they do their 30 years plus years in retirement. This workshop starts people thinking. I had one woman come up to me after class and admit that she was determined to retire at 65, but she had no clue how to do it. With the course workbook, she felt more confident about what she needed to do to reach her retirement goals. Budgeting 101. This class goes over basic budgeting, offers solutions using worksheets or popular budgeting apps. This course also comes with a workbook and budgeting forms. The care and keeping of your credit score. This course covers how your credit score is calculated and what an individual can do to repair or build their credit score over time. The latest online workshop that we covered, which Cassie mentioned, Maggie mentioned earlier that Cassie had talked about, is online financial resources. This tour included a tour of the online 401k site, the financial information available, and the calculators that the participants could take advantage of. The Social Security website, this is an important website to log in to check your annual wages when they get posted to make sure they're accurate, and then keep tabs on what your expected retirement benefits are going to be at age 62, 67, and age 70. Credit Karma. This app helps you keep track of your credit score. It's easy and free, and it also connects to TransUnion and Experian, the credit score agencies, so that you can keep track of your credit score real time. Financial blogs for continuing educations. Two of my favorite are moneyunder30.com and NerdWallet. I guarantee you, if you read something financial once a week for the next 6 months, you're going to be a total different person, and your financial literacy is going to shoot way up there. Online saving options for emergency funds. Many people don't realize that online savings accounts exist, and then they pay a higher interest rate than normal, your bank or your credit union. So it's worth checking out, and it's got many benefits to it. At Smart Investor, we also offer loan counseling to educate people on the pros and cons of taking a 401k loan so that they can make an educated decision. We integrate juggling lessons into some of our financial workshops to add some fun, and then to illustrate the point is that as people, we're always juggling three balls. Is that one is for the here and now, one's for saving for retirement, and then the other one is saving for emergencies. Quarterly, we send out education articles to all plan participants. Change slides, please. Individual one-on-ones. This is truly where the rubber meets the financial wellness road. Creating the time for your team to meet one-on-one with your 401k investment advisor is the most important thing that you can do for them. Change slides, please. At least annually, everyone needs to look at their financial health. Everyone worries about something. This meeting gives them a chance to talk about their biggest financial worries and get tips on what they can do to reduce them. How to create an emergency fund, where to set one up, and how much to have in it. Retirement, are they saving enough to meet their goals? Should they be in a different investment? Every year they should check on their asset allocation. Should they retire later rather than sooner? When you retire at 70 versus 67, you get a 30% higher Social Security benefit. A lot of people don't realize that. People need guidance and the opportunity to get answers. Financial education and one-on-ones can help empower your team to take control of their finances. Having someone to call, to ask questions and get answers is priceless. Change slides, please. Happy, less stressed team members are really the goal. Take company time to provide financial education and one-on-one meeting opportunities to your team. Foster a work culture that encourages continuous learning and provides time for your team members to take care of themselves. Financial health and physical wellness go hand in hand. Start with finances, expand your wellness program to physical and mental health over time. This will pay off with increased productivity and happier staff. Thanks for tuning in. I wish you and your teams a better financial future. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tracy. That was fantastic. We do have some questions that have come in. The first question that we have, I think would be best for you, Tracy. How do I get my team excited about financial education? How do I get my team excited about financial education and one-on-ones?
Well, my first recommendation as the owners of the company or the company's leader is that you need to walk the talk. Is that I would encourage your management staff to talk up these events, sign up for the one-on-ones, and keep encouraging people to sign up for these events. Encourage your executive staff to share their stories so they feel like a community and they're all in this together.
Wonderful. Another question that we have is, what is the annual time commitment for this ongoing financial wellness program?
Well, I would expect that each of the one-on-one meetings would be 30 minutes a piece. You could set up a day of Zoom appointments, and so you could, it should flow really seamlessly. You might want to leave a little bit of time in between. I think the quarterly education meetings, you could go from a half hour to 60 minutes, depending on the topic.
Great. A follow-up question was, should we make these mandatory meetings?
You know, for the first couple ones, I certainly would, because what you want to do is you want to foster that ability to, you set aside time so that people could sit down and look at their accounts. They don't have to share whatever they don't want to share, but if they sit down with the financial advisor and then they walk through their investment selection, their age, their goals, how long before they retire, the advisor can talk to them about how much they're putting away. Are they putting away enough to fund their financial future? And then should they wait a little bit for before they retire? So this 30 minutes will give your team member the chance to, like I said, be able to talk about their account or talk about other financial topics.
Great. One question that we had just popped through. When our 401k advisor does presentations, they just focus on investments. My team sometimes gets lost in all of the financial jargon, so they're not super excited about the meetings. How do we change that?
I would call up your advisor and just be honest with them and tell them that, what the information that they're providing is good, but what you would really like is maybe a more holistic approach to your financial education. Because you want to talk in their language, and you want to get the point home, and you want to connect with your team. So honesty is the best policy, so that in the end you get the type of presentations that you and your team will enjoy.
Great. Another question, Tracy, why should we do these workshops when it sounds like as a 401k participant, our team can just access the information online?
You know, that's a really good question. Have you ever in your own personal life said, oh, okay, you know what? I really need to do that. I need to text my best friend. I haven't talked to her in weeks, but weeks go by and you're like, oh, I haven't done it yet. And I think a lot of people in our lives, it gets so busy that it's really hard to stop and focus on these different things. So what is great is to set aside time during work so that they have that dedicated 30 minutes or whatever it is, that they can focus on what's right in front of them.
Great, thank you. Okay, one other question. Does Smart Investor offer these educational workshops for a fee?
You know, if any of you are interested in talking about financial education workshops and what Smart Investor can do for you, is I would encourage you to call, text, or email, and then we can sit down and chat about it.
Wonderful. Doesn't look like we have any other questions that have come through, but I just want to take the time to thank Maggie, thank Tracy for sharing with us today. And we appreciate you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us for today's BenderU on how financial stress kills workplace productivity. As a reminder, this session has been recorded and a link to view and share the recording will be emailed to you following the webinar. Should you have any questions that arise after the webinar, we all have those that pop up. Please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. So thank you all. We hope you have a wonderful day and join us again for future BenderU. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.